Hello, my name is Jeremy Persing and welcome to a video on how you can build out this stock dashboard within Power BI. Now let's go through some of the features so that you'll know what you'll be building. We only have one page and we have about 10 different companies. We'll have the user select one company at a time and they can go through the multiple years of the stock price, what its annual return has been, what its total return has been, the current price, and some financial metrics about the health of the company. We'll also go to the employees tab here. We'll see how many employees they've hired, the CEO salary, and the sales per employee. And then we'll also give the user a background tab, just some background information about who the CEO is, what sector they operate in, and where they're located. So without further ado, let's jump into it. I've just got to state this: if you don't have Power BI installed on your machine, go to the Windows Store and download Power BI Desktop. So with that out of the way, once you've got all that stuff downloaded, open a new tab of that. I'm just going to keep this open for reference whenever I'm building this. Now once you've got that done, I'm going to expand this ribbon here. You just go to Get Data, and there will be a link in the description to a GitHub repository. Go to that GitHub repository and download the data, because that's what you're going to be needing for this project. Once you've got that done, we are going to be choosing text/CSV and go to wherever you downloaded this data to and choose Profile. We do not need to do any transformations, so we will just load it. And let's get some more data. So do the same thing and do it with Revesta Stock Financials. And finally, we need to import the JSON file. So type in JSON and import Revesta price history. Now here I'm going to rename the columns. So this will just be date and this will be price. And let's make this ticker, because I believe that's what it is in the other. Yeah. All right, that's done. So just close this. And now let's just explore what each of these is actually containing, what the data actually is. So the Revesta price history, this is just the price of each stock over time. So since it's IPO to the current year. The stock financials, this is just different financial metrics, so how much cash the company has, the amount of debt, free cash flow, revenue, and shares outstanding, etc. for each given year for each given company. And this ranges over the past 5 years or the previous 5 years based on their annual reports. So we've hit the stock financials and price history. Let's go to Profile. And this just gives some background information about the company itself, who the CEO is, the company name, current price, sector, etc., etc. So let's go into the model, and it's probably already automatically created the relationships, and this is how I'm going to lay it out because this makes sense to me. Essentially, the profile is going to join to the price history and the stock financials. Both stock financials and price history contain many of the ticker, and this contains one, so that's what we are joining it on. And of course, if we tried to join these two together, we'd come up with a many-to-many, and it wouldn't work out as intended. So with that done, let's go and build out the report. Let's add a theme to our report, and we're going to choose a black theme. So just go to the View tab, then choose the black theme. And next we'll add our logo in the top left. So there's two ways that you can do this. They're going to differ if you have an SVG or a JPEG or PNG. So I'm just going to take you to my downloads folder. So this, you can actually use two methods for inserting this, but if you got an SVG, you can only use one. So let's go through both of those. First, you'll need to go to the Insert tab, then choose Image. Now, if you have the PNG, this will work for you. So let's go to the downloads, and we'll just choose our logo here. And you can do something like this where you just format it nicely up here in the top left. But we're going to use an SVG. And how you do that is you just choose a blank button. Once you have your blank button, go to the style, and it's going to be under fill. Turn this on, choose browse, and that's where you can either choose your PNG, JPEG, or your SVG. So let's choose the SVG, and let's format it a bit. We'll change the transparency to 0. We will have it fill, and then we will do a shift, and then we will resize it. And that will keep the dimensions the same. So we've got this formatted, but we just need to get rid of the border on it. So let's look at border, turn that off, and it looks good now. So with our logo on the screen, let's add in that company slicer. And if you remember, it actually allowed you to search via the ticker and the company name. So we actually don't have a field in our data where it has that combination. But what we can do is we can just create a new column within our profile here, and that will combine the ticker and the company name. So let's do that. We'll call it ticker and company name. And it's just going to be the profile ticker, and we're going to put a dash between them, and then the company name. Okay, now we'll choose the slicer option, and we'll put that in as the field. We'll format this a bit, then go to this tab and choose slicer settings, make this a drop down. Selection needs to be single select. Go to the more options or ellipses and turn on search. And now we just need to give it a border and border radius. So type in border. And we need to add it onto the effects here. We'll make it a light gray border, and we'll give the rounded corners a value of 4 pixels. Alright, now let's add in that card in the top left. So just for reference, let's go back to that. So we'll need to have an image, the company name, the exchange, the current price, and the ticker. So let's go to the other report and add those things in. So there is no default visual that allows you to create something like that. So we're going to have to be a little creative here. And the first thing that we need to do is insert a rectangle in this position. We're going to give this some round corners and a border that is equal to this. So we'll keep the color like this for now, where it's blue, but now we just need to add in the different values onto this. So this will be our background essentially. Let's start with the image. So we have a field in our data called image, and what this does is it provides a URL to an image on a server. And what we need to do is we need to categorize this as an image URL. So once that's done, we can then go and add it to a card. Now the thing is, if you just add in the image URL, it'll give you the URL. It doesn't actually give you the image. So what you have to do is you got to be a bit creative, and you've got to create a measure here, and this will just be an empty measure, and we want it to be as small as possible. So we'll just give it a backtick as the measure name, and the reason we want it to be small is when the value is blank, it'll just show the name. So maybe there's a way you can get rid of that, but I didn't look into it that much. So let's go to border here, and we want to deselect the border, make sure it's off. Then we want to go to image, so type that in, turn it on, choose image URL, and then browse for the image field. And The summarization doesn't matter since we're on single select, but we want this to be in the top position so that the little tick here, or the measure name, is beneath it. So now I'm going to reformat this, or resize it, and then put it on top of this. Okay, now we need to add in the company name here and the exchange. And these will both be the same card essentially. So let's start off with the company name. And we just need to type in company to add that in. Then we need to change the format. So let's go to callout, change this to, I believe it was 10. Now get rid of the label, and we need to get rid of the border as well. I thought I deselected the label, but apparently I didn't. So let's go to there. And there's also a field called vertical spacing. I like to turn this all the way to 0. And that just gives you more room to play with. But let's resize this and put it on the screen here. And I'm just going to copy this and paste it. Then resize this a bit, or place it right here. And we'll change the field so that it is the exchange. And now we just need to right align that. So let's go to the callout option here and choose right alignment. Now let's add in the ticker symbol and then the price. So let's copy this again and add in the ticker symbol. So let's first format this. We'll give it a value of 27, make that bold, and then search for ticker. Okay, that's good. Now let's copy and paste, and we'll do the same thing here, except that we just need to right align it and change the value to price. And I'm going to get rid of the bold. So let's search for price, and that's going to be price from profile. Get rid of, make sure that it's the only one. We actually don't need to rename. But one thing that we do need to do is format it as a currency, and I'm going to choose the English US currency. And if you don't choose that, I've had it to where it will remove the 0, so it would read 597.6, and that's not how you typically would view that. So with that done, let's change the background color of this rectangle, and I happen to know that it is 3A, 3A, 3A. That's the hexadecimal code. So I'm going to go into more colors and just type that in. Okay, so with that done, let's group all of these visuals together, and you just select all of them and press Ctrl-G. So with this card created, let's create the chart underneath of it. So with this card created, let's create the chart underneath it that represents the price change over time. And what we're going to need is the total return, the total percentage gain, and the compound annual growth rate. And then we're going to need to add in these buttons, and these changes need to be dynamic, or these calculations need to be dynamic. So let's go back to the report and get started. Let's get started by adding in an area chart. And we're going to put this underneath the stock card there. What we're going to need is this price and this date. Put the date on the x-axis and make sure it's just the date. And then for the price, we're going to put that on the y-axis. Let's name this price instead of sum of price. And then also let's format it so that it's a currency. Now we can get rid of the label titles, so let's type in title. And we don't need the x-axis or y-axis. And for the main title, we'll call it stock price. And we need to center this, put some padding in this. Give it a padding of 5, and then we're also going to want to add a subtitle. So let's actually change the color first to a nice green color. And we'll choose this. Now we'll need to create those calculations. Those were total return, the total percentage gained, and then the compound annual growth rate. So we're in the price history table, so that's where I'm going to create these measures. And for this, we'll call it total return. We need to get the max date and the minimum date within the chart. Then we need to get the minimum price and the max price for the chart as well. And really, this is the min price. It represents the minimum dates price. And likewise, the max price is actually representing the price on the maximum date, not the actual maximum price value. Then we need to get the price difference, the year difference, and the percentage change. Then we need to get the compound annual growth rate. Then we'll add in some symbols. And finally, we will return all these values in one line. So I'll save this. It'll give me an error because up arrow and down arrow do not exist currently, but we can add them quite easily. So up arrow will just be Unicare of 9650, and the down arrow will be 9660. And I need to rename this to down arrow. Now let's go to type in subtitle, turn this on, and we want to click on this FX. Field value is correct. Now we just need to say total return. And we want this to be in the center for the horizontal alignment. And we also want the color to change. So let's add in a measure to do that. So I'll call this total return color. And if the total return contains the up arrow, then we want it to be a green color. Otherwise, we want it to be a red color. Okay, that's created. So go to the text color here, and we want to choose a field value. And let's just search for total return color. And I'm going to change the chart so that it matches this. So let's look for color. And it's one of these, but I'm just going to type it in. Now we need to add in those buttons for the different years. So it was all 10 years, 5 years, and 3 years. And all those are bookmarks. So go to the view pane and click on bookmarks. Then go here. And while we're at it, let's add a border to our chart. I forgot to do that. And now click on your chart, and under date here, we want this to be the relative date, and we want to say in the last blank. So we want it to be in years, and let's do 3 years first. So we'll apply that, and then we'll add in the bookmark here. We'll call this 3Y. And we have the visuals selected here, so we want to say selected visuals, and we just need to do the same thing for 5 years, 10 years, and then all. So for all, it's just going to be this. We'll add this in and selected visuals. Now rename this to all, and I'll speed up the process for 5 and 10 years. Now we'd like to group these all together, so I'm going to do control click for all of these, and let's create a group. We'll call this the charts or stock price bookmarks. All right, now within this, we'll assign these in a descending order. So all will be on the left, and then 3 years will be on the rightmost side. And with that done, let's add a button or some buttons up here in the top right to represent these bookmarks so that the user can click on them. And how we do that is we just go to Insert, Buttons, Navigator, and Bookmark Navigator. And it's going to automatically select the bookmarks, but we just want to make sure that it's only choosing the stock price bookmarks. So go over here under Bookmarks and select this group. Okay. And now we'll just resize this so that it fits in this location. And I'm going to get rid of the padding. I don't think that looks good. So let's go to the grid layout, and that's where it's at. And then we also need to have one of these selected. Okay, so with that added to the screen, let's select those and we'll group those together, and we'll call this the price chart. And I'm going to rename this card as well, this group to price card. All right, with that done, let's add in the financial metrics. All right, so this stuff is pretty simple, and if you got this far in the video, you already know how to create charts, add borders, and whatnot. So I'm just going to speed up through this section of the video, put on some background music, and just go ahead and build along with me. Now, with these visuals created, make sure to group them using the Control G that we used before. And let's make sure to name these appropriately. So this is financial metrics, the financial metrics group. Now let's hide it, and let's do the employees group. Now that we have these 3 groups created, we just need to create 3 different bookmarks for whenever each is being shown. So let's do that. And make sure to select these 3 groups whenever you're adding a bookmark. Then you just need to click the selected visuals. Now we'll group these 3 bookmarks. We'll rename this to Company Metrics. And we need to add in the Bookmark Navigator buttons. So go to Insert again, Buttons, Navigator, Bookmark Navigator. And this is where we will choose the Company Metrics. Now format it so that it is nice and pretty. Alright, so there you guys have it. That is how you can create a dashboard just like this in Power BI. And if you guys are interested in any other financial data, go over to my website called Revesta.net, and this is where you can do stock analysis. And if you guys are interested in dashboard creation, I'll be creating a new dashboard every week for the next 10 weeks. So stay tuned for that, and thank you very much for watching. Have a great day.